Okay. You know what? I feel like watching this one. Are Japan's biggest idiots single-handedly destroy the political party? That sounds pretty fun. By Japanalysis. Let's go.
The absolute dumbest politician of all time. Stupid decision after stupid decision. This
Wrestling?
complete donkey single-handedly destroyed an entire political party that he built.
Okay.
He went from a popular senator to a broke loser with a criminal record.
Wow.
And it was all his own fault. Surprisingly, this story starts with the
Normal
NHK.
candidates. For the US, not for Japan.
NHK is Japan's public broadcaster,
Yes.
essentially their version of the BBC. And while they're basically just a news station, there's a big movement of people who hate them.
Not the biggest fight. Not the biggest fan, especially because of copyright. Yeah, like channel I follow that post stuff about sumo, for example. It always get copyright strike to death. So, not the biggest fan of the NHK, yeah.
The biggest reason for this being their fees. Everyone who lives in Japan and owns a TV must pay the NHK's fees.
Wow.
Doesn't matter if you don't watch their channel, doesn't matter if you just use your TV for Netflix, you have to pay. And if you don't, NHK will send debt collectors to your house until you do. Everyone who's lived in Japan has dealt with these guys. A lot of them are nice and will...
I know in some countries there's something like that. Like a TV fee, I guess. And you're supposed to pay it even if you don't watch TV. Like your TV is only for your computer or something. I forget which country, but some country have that, yeah.
back off when you say you don't own a TV, or if you intimidate them with your Yakuza tattoos. But most of them are persistent.
Okay.
They will try anything to get you to pay. They'll come knocking every day, peeping through your windows looking for anything that resembles a TV, or try to trick you that your computer monitor or even your cell phone counts as one. In the worst cases, they've been known to trespass or even get physical with people who won't pay.
All that about how much? Like, how much do you even have to pay? Are they doing all this madness for like how much are they asking for?
One brave man stood up to the NHK and said, "Enough." His name, Tachibana Takashi, the man who hates NHK more than anyone.
Sounds like
Tachibana was a professional pachinko player.
Okay.
Yes, that's a thing.
Wow.
But before that, he worked at the NHK for 20 years until he was pushed out following an accounting scandal in 2005. So he had more reason to hate them than anyone. And with the rise of the internet, he took his vendetta to YouTube, where all he does is criticize the NHK and teach people how to get out of paying their fees. He's been doing that for 13 years now. But most importantly, in 2013, he started a political party called Party to Protect the People from NHK. And he had a genius advertising idea. The party handed out these NHK repellent stickers. Slap one of these on your door and bam, the debt collectors stop coming. It sounds too good to be true, but from the NHK's point of view, they know that whoever has these stickers is going to be a difficult customer in the first place. And even if they did show up, the sticker had Tachibana's personal phone number on it, and he would tell you exactly what to say to get them to go away. This was bold, and
I love stories like this when someone gets so mad at something super specific that he just makes his whole life about like fighting it. I mean, sure, it seems annoying this having to pay the NHK thing, but like this guy's whole identity and life became about fighting them. Like, that's pretty interesting.
Worked. These stickers were popping up everywhere. Tachibana's strategy resonated with voters who hated the fee collectors. But this was also a wild time in Japanese politics. Voters who hated the fee collectors.
Is that the Idolmaster in the background? Oh, it's maybe it is, yeah.
But this was also a wild time in Japanese politics. The first YouTuber candidate ran in 2016, and he was, well...
A YouTuber.
Thousands of people had to suffer through that because Japan forces TV stations to give political candidates airtime, which is exactly why he was doing it.
I was about to say, like, if it's only on YouTube, like, that makes sense. I'm sure there's some crazy political candidates that are so small, but they're on YouTube, so they do weird stuff. But yeah, I know in Japan, they have to show weird stuff. I've seen a video about this recently, like, they will show, like, most of the candidates, and so there will be some very weird stuff, and it's funny.
in the first place to send people to his YouTube channel. Although some of his speeches were so bad, NHK had to censor them.
Wow.
He ended up suing them, but he lost. Tachibana saw this guy, a complete loser, and thought, I'm a YouTuber too. I can do way better than that. So he decided to take a big step and get into national politics.
Wow.
He was going to run for the House of Councillors. Basically,
I mean, it's only a matter of time until some YouTuber becomes some president of some country. Like, you know, before the recent controversy, there was a lot of people saying like Mr. Beast should run or something. I don't know. Like, you know, for example, like Trump used to be like a reality TV like guy, right? Which is seen as like such a low brow thing, right? Like such a low level thing. So, you know, it's not gonna be crazy when a YouTuber becomes like a president of some country. Yeah. It's not gonna be surprising, I feel like.
Japanese Senate on a really simple platform. And you know what? It went better than expected. People liked him, or at least they didn't like the NHK.
Yeah.
He got 1 million votes, and he actually won.
Celebrity senators.
This was his dream. The people elected him to fight the NHK from inside.
Okay.
It felt like the beginnings of a real political movement. The NHK party was extremely popular if you polled high school boys, and their slogan, Destroy the NHK, was the most popular phrase on the internet in 2019. But still, it wasn't enough. If
Right.
K was the most popular phrase on the internet,
Monophone 2 on the Pop Team Epic in 2019. Yeah, I guess that was Pop Team Epic.
in 2019. But still, it wasn't enough. If he wanted to keep growing, he would need to fight the NHK even harder. Luckily, he had the perfect plan.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Step 1. Become a criminal. Tachibana had recruited a mole, an NHK fee collector that was loyal to him. But instead of playing it slow, Tachibana immediately went nuclear. He took the names and addresses of 50 random NHK customers and posted them to YouTube.
But why?
With a blur over top. And
Why?
he made a demand. If the head of NHK doesn't meet with me within 2 weeks, I'm gonna remove the blur. Yeah, he was literally holding random Japanese
But yeah, I don't get it. Why the random people who like don't want to pay the fee? What the fuck?
citizens' personal information hostage. And that's how the court saw it too.
2 IQ.
Both Tachibana and the mole were found guilty for this plot. Tachibana was given a 4-year suspended sentence. Well, that didn't work. Better
Okay.
try something else.
Oh, boy.
What about expanding to other issues? I mean, the party didn't have a platform outside of simply hating the NHK, so maybe some new policy
What else
positions
can you
could
hate?
help. After a lot of thought, this is what Tachibana came up with.
バカな国ほど子供を産むから、バカな民族っていうかね、そういうアホみたいな子供を産む民族はとりあえず虐殺しろみたいな、
Wait,
Wow.
I was reading like the subtitles. Wait, what
ア
is
ホみ
it?
たいな子供
What the
バ
fuck
カ
did
な
he
民
say?
族っていうかね、そういうアホみたいな子供を産む民族はとりあえず虐殺しろみたいな。
Wow, that got dark really fast.
What the fuck?
But that's not all. This was his new right-hand man.
ユダヤマネーをぶっ壊す
ユダヤマネー
ユ
と
ダヤマネー
そういう
がしに
ことでしょ
来ると
So he became an
this was the
Nazi?
new NHK party. But I guess it's what you can expect when a YouTuber enters politics.
Okay.
People called for Tachibana to resign from the Senate over his genocide comments, but instead he just deleted the video and pretended like they took him out of context.
僕がそんな虐
How the like even if you have this kind of belief, like why does he just come out with it? You know what I mean? Like you'd think this is the kind of shit that you would hide. So like he was just doing this campaign against the NHK and suddenly he's talking about genocide. Okay.
殺とかしようと思ってる人間に見えますか。
Tachibana was clearly bad at this whole politics thing. He needed a new strategy, something flashier. Unfortunately, someone else beat him to the punch.
Okay. Is it the guy from
スマ
earlier?
ホで録画して YouTube や TikTok にアップロードしてどんどん再生回数を稼いでください。私の政策は千葉県全体をディズニーランドにする。
I mean, why not? Sounds less weird than the other guy.
A new Joker candidate was making headlines not just in Japan, but worldwide.
Really?
Tachibana realized he had it the wrong way around. He was a YouTuber trying to fit in with the politicians, but he needed to bring YouTube to politics. Luckily, he knew the perfect guy.
Get the use.
It was time for step 3, Tachibana's biggest mistake yet.
Oh boy.
More YouTubers.
Okay.
Over 11 years, Tachibana had gotten around 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. But this guy, Gashi, or as I like to call him, Gassi, had over 1 million, and he built it in less than 2 months.
Nah, banned.
Gassi was basically Japanese Keemstar, but instead of internet figures, he exposed A-list celebrities' darkest secrets that he learned over the years managing a really high-end bar. And somehow, Tachibana convinced him not just to join the NHK party, but to run on their ticket for a second seat in the House of Councillors.
Why this
and
guy?
Yeah, Gassi easily won. But wait, why isn't he there celebrating in person? Well, Gassi is a criminal and he's on the run from the law. He's in Dubai.
I was gonna say it's probably not in Japan because like that kind of channel doesn't really fly that well in Japan since in Japan you can be sued for defamation even if you're saying something true. So like, you know, if you're saying that someone like some guy stole money from his company and you know the guy actually like got convicted of that, you can still get sued for like basically like defamation from the guy. Like it's very weird, right? So a channel that's all about drama and like exposing people in Japan is like the kind of thing that's like, you know, you're really risking getting sued to death, basically. So I'm not surprised, yeah. Not surprised.
Bye right now. He ran away because of massive gambling debts. That's why he sold out his friend's secrets in the first place. He's also wanted by Interpol for defamation.
Yeah, we go.
But this might make you wonder,
Defamation.
how is he going to serve in the Japanese House of Councillors from Dubai? And the answer is,
It's just like a VTuber, just put a screen. I mean, it works. It just works.
he didn't.
Oh.
He never attended even once. Of course, he was still collecting his 19 million yen salary. The Japanese public hated this. He was asked time and time
makes
again
no
to return
sense.
to Japan. And by the way, once he was elected, he became immune from prosecution, so he easily could have, but he refused. Eventually, after many warnings, Gassi was forcibly expelled from the House of Councillors. The first time
That makes
that's
sense.
happened since 1951. In the end, Gassi, who don't cry, which is a lie, by the way,
Okay.
ほんまにもう俺のことはもうどんだけボロカスようが一緒いいです
ended
He's
up
sad
getting
because they
arrested in
raided his
Dubai,
house.
forcibly returned to Japan, charged, and given a 5-year suspended sentence.
Oh my god. The
What
twist
was
in his story.
Tachibana thinking? Did he really think nobody would notice his wanted criminal YouTuber friend not showing up for work? This scandal was so embarrassing and the public blowback so strong that after 12 years building the NHK party, Tachibana had no other choice but to step down.
It is interesting. I guess the more of the story is simply that, you know, like when someone seems so angry and insane against something, like this guy was against the NHK, that he would start a whole political party to fight that, you know, that might be a good cause, but the guy's probably crazy because, you know, a normal, sane person, even if they're annoyed and angry at the NHK, they wouldn't go that far. So I guess the flag should have been there, right? Yeah. Yeah. The flag should have been there.
And of course, because he just can't stop messing up, this is step 4 by the way, he appointed some random child actor named Ayaka who joined the party 2 months earlier to be the new leader.
あ Alright.
質問が難しいのでそれはスルーしておいて
What the
Oh
fuck?
yeah, and the NHK party, it was now an idol group and they were renaming it to Politician
Okay.
Girls 48.
This is smarter though. Like, this is what sells idols. I mean, I get it. I get it. Like, don't get some criminal YouTuber, get idols. Like, that's much more smart. Yeah.
The very first thing Ayaka did was try to milk the party for her own benefit by hosting a really weird fundraising event where you could pay 10,000 yen to whip her or 100,000 yen to tie her up. She also tried to withdraw 900,000 yen from the party's
is-
bank account.
This can't be real. Like, this whole story can't be real. I mean, come on. None of this makes any damn sense. The twist and turn make no sense.
The bank called Tachibana to confirm, and he froze the funds.
You froze her account?
I did.
The
This is
original
so
party's
funny.
investors now felt betrayed. They contributed to help Tachibana fight against the NHK, not Ayaka's S&M Party 48. They all asked for their money back, and now the party was in debt for over 1 billion yen.
billion.
Suffice to say, Tachibana had made a huge mistake. Within a month, he tried to reverse course and kick Ayaka out, but it was too late. The party was divided. Even the Jewish money guy had turned against him and was now coming to disrupt his rallies.
お前らちょっと演説妨害してるんで
And
The
it wasn't just
Jewish money
Tachibana,
guy,
he was
yeah.
disrupting everyone's rallies to the point that he got arrested for it. But he was putting it on YouTube and making money, so maybe it was worth it. Regardless, Ayaka didn't like it, so she kicked him out of Politician Girls 48.
Okay.
Tachibana's fight to retake control of the party was not going well. He was resorting to tracking Ayaka down on the street.
久しぶりやね。逃げるんですか。
Oh my god, this is so insane.
だって言うんだったら。
She calls the cops, he chases her for a few minutes until she goes into a building and he stands outside like an NPC.
Okay.
Eventually, to figure out whose party it really was, they had to go to court, and it took a long time, all the way up until March of this year to resolve. The final decision, the party belongs to Ayaka.
Really?
Tachibana had now lost everything.
But
there was
I mean, I guess it's probably like paperwork and stuff like that. I was gonna say, like, the guy started it, like, how is it really belonging to her? I thought she was just some kind of, like, figurehead. Alright. I have no idea what to say. Like, you always hear some crazy story about Japan, but this is probably, like, one of the craziest one I've heard recently. None of this makes any sense. Like it has, you think it has to be a meme? Like, this guy was just trying to be a meme? Like, none of this decision was serious, but maybe they were. I don't know.
one sliver of hope,
Oh.
an opportunity on the horizon.
Oh,
The
boy.
biggest election in the country was coming up, the Tokyo election. And Tachibana had an idea,
Oh,
a
boy.
scheme, you could say. Let me explain. If there's one thing you should know about Japanese elections, it's that they are obsessed with fairness and keeping money out of politics. Candidates are not allowed to hire staff or even pay for advertising. And to make sure they're serious, anyone who wants to run has to pay a 3 million yen deposit. But in return, the government guarantees you a ton of free advertising. They give you newspaper ads, 2 6-minute broadcasts on TV, and a spot on these poster boards. Tachibana's plan
boy.
was to exploit this. Here's how. The most candidates that had ever entered this election before was 22. Tachibana alone entered 24. Not only did this immediately give him a ton of media attention, he also got the free advertising. For the newspaper ads, Tachibana put the candidate small in the little right-hand corner, with the rest of the space advertising himself.
Okay.
And that's not all. In their TV spots,
just
he made
won't
them
stop.
say his slogan and mention him by name.
NHK をぶっ壊す立花隆が NHK をぶっ壊す立花隆が
I mean, this seems much more smart, right? Like, how this guy is like half stupid and half a genius. Like, his previous stuff made him seem like he had 2 IQ, but this is much more smart, you know, like exploit the system. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
But the crux of the whole plan lied in the poster boards. There are 14,000 poster boards in Tokyo, and each candidate gets 1 square on every board.
Oh.
But by running 24 candidates and manipulating the way the squares are selected, Tachibana personally owned this entire
Oh my
section of the
God.
board on all 14,000 boards. His plan? Resell entire boards to
Sasuke.
people for 10,000 yen each. Buyers could put up whatever flyers they wanted. Some customers included a
sure it's
YouTuber
real.
who put up this hand-drawn artwork, this guy who advertised himself as the #1 host in Japan, but he must also have some haters.
That is insane. Again, like, this is an actual almost smart scheme. So he got all the spots, but then rather than just cover it with himself, he's selling the spot to people to raise money. And all this was free in the first place. Well, I guess he had to pay 20. What is it, like 20,000 yen? I forgot. But he had to pay that originally. But then, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, except if the government gets mad over this, but otherwise, this is smart.
Whatever flyers they wanted. Some customers included a YouTuber who put up this hand-drawn artwork, this guy who advertised himself as the #1 host in Japan, but he must also have some haters because someone came and ripped his
Jimmy Diana.
posters. Even idol groups paid to put posters up. It says, "We have a 42-year-old, a mascot character, and even a gay member. Thanks, Tachibana, for the advertising opportunity." Here's the mascot,
Wow.
so I'll let you guys speculate who the other 2 are. But as you can guess, Tachibana would take money from
None of this is real.
anyone, even anti-Korean groups who put posters up right outside a Korean international school. Tachibana's
So it was smart for a second, but then of course it wasn't that smart. Like, again, this whole scheme seems so much more in depth than anything he's done before. But then he still like fucks up in, of course he's gonna like promote some bad stuff. He doesn't even look into it for 2 seconds. Bruh.
math behind the poster scheme kind of made sense.
Yeah.
Entering 24 candidates at 3 million yen each would cost Tachibana 72 million yen. But if all the posters sold, he would generate 140 million yen, doubling his investment and getting tons of free publicity. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't that simple. Tachibana missed something. A little thing, the public hated this. I mean, first off, this is not what the election boards are supposed to be for.
I thought, you know, sure, like, the older people might hate it, but I figured, like, this is the kind of shit that, you know, the younger generation, like, you know, were, like, very, kind of, like, done with politics in some way, might be like, yeah, this is cool, you're breaking the system or something.
Supposed to even the playing field by giving each candidate the same amount of space and keeping money out of politics. This is literally the opposite of that. But second, this screwed over other legitimate candidates. Tachibana's 24 entries pushed the election to a whopping 56 candidates, but the poster boards only had 48 spaces. So some candidates literally didn't have space for their posters, and the election committee had to make a special exemption to allow them to hang on the edges. I know, a special exemption, very
like, they'd rather do this than just tell him, like, stop doing this weirdness, you're gonna have one poster and that's it. I love how they're like, you know, every time, every step of the way so far, it's, yeah, like, it's breaking the system, but they're just like, sure, break it, we're just gonna add, like, more to the side, rather than just tell you to only use one poster.
Japanese. Basically, this scheme made everyone hate Tachibana. He expected to pull in 140 million yen, and the actual amount he pulled in?
Oh, a 19 character for this one. Nice.
55 million. Oh, no, I accidentally added a 0. 5 million yen. Tachibana did not take this very well. He blamed the media for making people hate his scheme and therefore not buy the posters. He wanted the narrative to be that he did this out of the kindness of his heart to prove how wasteful the poster boards are and to give a voice to the voiceless. And nobody believed that. The truth is, Tachibana was kind of right. Even though the Tokyo election got a ton of coverage, his scheme did get almost none. But the reason is, the media was preoccupied with something else. You see, both the diaper guy and the Joker built legitimate careers from their crazy performances. The Joker was even—
he's doing a fucking mask cosplay now. I had no idea the mask is even popular in Japan. Damn. Anybody remembers the mask? Wow.
Elected to a city council in 2022. And as a result, this inspired tons of copycats. In the 2024 Tokyo election, there was a flood of joke candidates.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, the only thing like this I can think of is, like, wasn't there, like, in the UK some guy like Lord Bucket or something, like with some crazy look? That's the only thing like that I really heard, like, as a very joke candidate that makes it pretty far, right? Usually, like, they don't make it very far. You know, it's a joke for 2 seconds and the end.
Yes!
Bruh. I think the lady is like the sign language lady is probably like just like an official, like, paid for the government, right? She's not like our own, like, the candidate's personal translator. She must be so weirded out having to, like, translate for them.
Yes!
What the fuck?
This guy looks like a square. There was even an AI mayor who wants to make all of Tokyo's decisions with AI. Next thing you know, the city's gonna look like this. So yeah, it was chaos. The only people left talking about Tachibana's dumb scheme were the people criticizing it.
Sounds like good entertainment,
Tachibana's story is that of a man who spent 13 years building a political movement, only to lose his party.
Got Putin backs mayor in Russia, and he did an opponent to legally run in the election, so he appointed one of his assistants as his opponent. The assistant won. Well then.
Party, go bankrupt, and end up becoming the villain. And you know, for a sliver of time in 2019, he was actually super popular because he tapped into people's legitimate hatreds of the NHK fee collectors. And he actually won that fight, by the way. Since his election, NHK has mostly stopped sending them out, and they even lowered their fees in 2023. So he needed to just take the win, but instead he spiraled out of control, trying everything to stay relevant.
There's no way it's done, though. Like, this is the kind of guy that you're gonna hear about every couple of years doing some crazy scheme.
Without the fee collectors, though, he has nothing connecting him with the people. He can't channel their anger anymore. Regardless, he's still around, he's still going. He's not going to stop, so I expect to see more of him in the future as well. I heard he's going to try some other weird election scheme next year too, which I'll be going over in part 2, along with his boxing match, his history of being a pachinko pro, and more. If you want to know more about Tachibana, this is for you. Part 2 is available for free on my Patreon. Yes, that's right, it's free. You don't have to pay. Just click the link in the description. Thanks to my patrons who make these videos possible, especially through long delays, and you for watching till the end. See you next time.
That's really hilarious. I'm glad we watched this one. absolute insanity. I mean, yeah, you always hear some like very funny, weird stories of like something in Japan, but this is probably like one of the best one I've heard in a while. I mean, most of this seems like a meme. Like none of this seems like it really happened. You know, it's just pure insanity. How does any of this ever happen? Yeah, like 1 second is making moves that seem kind of smart. Next second is doing the most, you know, brain dead thing. It's just it's incredible. Absolute mad lad. Alright, that was something. I'm gonna have to become the villain. He was probably always the villain, but you know, just hiding it at first, right? Alright, that was a blast.